There was not a whole lot of drug usage when I was younger. There was a lot of alcohol abuse. I wouldn't say violence, but alcohol pretty much fuels anger. We didn't really go to church. We watched church on TV and stuff, like Dr. Charles Stanley and Billy Graham. My mom and my grandma was very big on the Christianity. You know, they always had a really humble outlook on God, and tried to teach me what they could. Started off with the alcohol, smoking weed, and then as I got older, probably middle school, I started hanging out with older people, introduced to cocaine, and I started going to parties and clubs. That led to pain pills and stuff like that, and jail and prison sentences and legal problems. Pretty rough ride. I know I needed to change, when things started getting out of control, getting locked up and going to jail, and financial problems, not being able to stable with my finances or work. I would get out of jail and I would do good. Jail would kind of scare me up a little bit, and I would do good for a while, and then I would just fall right back into the same rut. It would be worse the next time. Every time that I would come back up for air, I would get knocked back down from jail to it spiraling into having to be a prisoner. That's a totally different world. I first heard about A Better Way. I was actually not completely in my mess. I had backed off of the drug usage a little bit, but I was drinking. Me and my dad hadn't always had a real close relationship, so I was just sitting around the table drinking, and something prompted me to call my dad. And I started thinking about how I would feel what was going on with my kids, and how they would feel towards me, if I just didn't talk to them or they didn't talk to me. And so I called my dad and started talking to him, and we hadn't really talked probably a couple of years, and then the times that we did speak to each other, it was me trying to manipulate him and him getting mad at me for doing what all I was doing. But this time was a little different. I just kind of poured everything out. And he said, well, you know what, son? I know a guy that knows of a place. And he said, I'm not sure what it is. He said, he said, his name's Bobby, Bobby Dodd. He said, can I have him call you back and you can kind of talk to him? And I said, well, yeah, sure. At this point, I'll try anything. So, a few minutes went by and Bobby called me back, and he started explaining to me about, A Better Way and how strict it was and the rules and all this kind of stuff. And it really sounded like exactly what I needed. So my dad, we made the 3.5-hour journey to A Better Way. I remember as we were, getting closer and closer, we kept calling the minutes off to each other, how many minutes, looking at the navigation system. The houses kept getting bigger and bigger, and I remember Bobby telling me, it's a really nice place. It's like a resort. And I remember just seeing these big houses and stuff like that. My dad was like, son, I don't know if we're in the right neighborhood or not. And I was like, well, he said it was a real nice place. So I remember pulling in there and seeing all these houses. The first person that I actually seen was Bulldog sitting outside with his dog, Max, out there, and the dog was trying to jump in the car with us, barking and yelping. Billy tried to explain to me what house to go to and all that. We were just completely turned around, and he kept saying Alejandro, and Bulldog was trying to say his name, and he couldn't really pronounce his name. But so he led us down there to the Grace House. I remember all the guys came out. It was Sean, Nick Byers, Malcolm, Joshua Doe. All the leaders come out, and they started helping me get my stuff out of my dad's car. And they were just so nice, man. It was just like, and the next thing you know, we're praying. Everybody's standing in a circle, and one of the guys leads the prayer off. We start praying, and then my dad says a prayer for all of us. And it's just like pretty wild, man. I'm like, man, this is so far so good, because of some of the past experiences I've had with these rehabs, or they've just been infiltrated with, drugs and nonsense and stuff. So it was just a blessing to start off with, pulling up just that kind of atmosphere. You could just tell that it was a good place. So the structure here at A Better Way is very structured. The getting up at 4:45 and all your buttons and your pants has got to be folded this way, and this pocket's got to be up. I remember when I first got here, I was just like, my God, how am I going to remember all this stuff? I can't remember. And then I had to remember all these people's names and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. A couple of months before I got here, I started, getting up on my own extra early, 4 o'clock in the morning, and definitely the discipline, standing in line, the reverence. This was going to be a really hard accomplishment to make it through but it was something that I needed. It's helped me tremendously. Yeah, the brotherhood here at A Better Way, it's been great, man. It's especially starting out early in the program. You know, you got all these guys that already know all the rules and stuff like that, and they just, you know, they voluntarily help you. They're just so kind and leading you and trying to lead you in the right direction. Throughout the program, I've had several where I've had things happen. Normally, I would probably have just folded up and left, but I've had guys come up to me and praying for me. Just people that you can lean on. I've never had that before. It's amazing having somebody to talk to or somebody to pray for you, and just what that can do to help your morale and spiritual man, you know, just having people talk to you like that. I've never had that before. My trip to Florida was amazing. The ride down there with the guys, sharing snacks and just talking and just relaxing, you know, from all the pressing things that we do on a day-to-day basis. To be able to sit back and relax and just enjoy life with those guys, most of them that I had came in with that were my intake brothers, it was nice, man. I remember pulling up at the beach house, man, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even think I'd ever been in a 4-story house. It was just so nice, man, with being right there on the beach, getting out there, and probably the first time I've ever been to the beach sober since I was a child. Trips to the beach always revolved around drinking and drugs and partying, but to actually experience that for the first time and then being baptized in the ocean, sometimes I would sit back and think, is this really happening? You know, how big of a blessing this place has been. This place saved my life. Before the baptism, I kind of sat around. He had a few scriptures explaining to us about baptism for those of us that had no idea about what that meant, or even if we were being led spiritually to be baptized. And he also let us know that it was okay if we didn't want to be baptized that day. It's really kind of up to us. Were we ready to dedicate our lives to the Lord? And me personally, I was rededicating my life. Being able to sit down there on the beach moments before the baptism, everybody went around the circle just kind of sharing a little bit of their testimony in their lives, the knockdowns and getting back up. It brought us all in a lot closer. And then I remember him asking me, you know, do you have anything that you want to leave here? Well, you know, I didn't know really what to say. And then it came to me, I want to leave that old sinful man that was just enraptured in sinful lust. That person, I wanted to leave that person there, become that new man that I was designed to be, that the Lord was making me and molding me and has been molding me and shaping me since I've been here. When I came up out of the water, I felt like a weight was lifted off of me. You know, it wasn't nothing like, oh, crazy, you know, feeling or whatever, but it was a good, clean, spiritual rebirth. It's an awesome feeling, knowing that I had that opportunity to do this. A Better Way has instilled a lot of discipline, giving me back that opportunity to gain that close connection with the Lord through the devotions, through the contracts, and just a deeper understanding of the Word. And you know, just that opportunity has helped me, you know, immensely with my recovery and my walk, my overall outlook on life. It's transformed me into someone that I love now. I love myself now. It's incredible how the Lord works and how powerful that is. You know, I came in, I didn't have no driver's license, I didn't have no job, I didn't have no hope, just up to the mercy of God, you know, when I came in here. And since I've been here, I've got my driver's license restored. I have a job with the moving company. You know, I'm a crew leader. Went from no license to driving a truck. That's something only God could do. God has restored my relationship with my father. Before coming here, me and him had only really met one time, and that was when I was 27. I'm 40 now. He left around, I was around probably 2 years old. Him and my mama got a divorce, and I think he was going through some drug addiction in his earlier years. Since coming here, our relationship has been restored. I remember having my first Christmas dinner at the ministry, and it just happened to fall on the day when I was eligible to have family day. And I remember sitting at the table and having my mom and my dad, and my brother, my whole family, my little immediate family together. I remember just sitting around, and I can't hardly talk about it without crying, but that was something that I always wanted. So I want to thank Brother John for following through with his vision for this place, giving me a place to come and draw closer to the Lord, get my life together. Thank Brother Doug for putting up with us and always being fair. I'd like to thank my mom and my brother and my dad for sticking by my side through all this. Without y'all's support, it would have been a lot tougher. Y'all made it a lot easier on me. All these guys that I came through the ministry with, man, these intake brothers, y'all been there for me, y'all prayed for me, we went through a lot together, and I'm thankful for that. Praise God for that.